You know what I'm saying? What's up, everybody? Welcome to Yaga Rambles. Yaga here, and I have a special guest with me today. Very good friend of mine and local comedian, Joe DeGan.
Hey, that's me, Joe DeGan, professional comedian.
Damn right he is. Very funny man, very funny man. Here to talk to us a little bit about what it's like being a comedian in the local Chicagoland area. So let me have it, Joe. What's it like?
Don't start. Don't try to be a comedian. No, if you've ever been told that you should do comedy, go ahead and try it once, I guess. I like watching you, first timers, come out. It's fun. I've been doing it for a long time, though. I've been, I think it was 5 years on the 28th.
Yeah, I was going to say.
This is going to go up.
You've been doing it quite a long time, because I remember seeing you when you first started out, back, like you said, about 5 years ago. You're pretty good then, but then you were there, you did a few things. I know you came back, now you're doing it again. We saw you on Saturday night. Saturday night was fucking hilarious. At the Crazy 8 show out at the Comedy Shrine. That was good stuff. You fucking opened up and you set the bar for a great tone, I thought. Took second place. Everybody, this motherfucker took second place. Almost got his hands on $188.
Oh, it was very close.
Of awesome prize money. That's what you get when you're a local comedian. $188. That's what you're worth.
well, I think Jack, the host, pointed it out very well. It's like that to a comedian. That's all the monies for a 8-minute set. Like that's pretty good.
Right.
I'll take $188 for 8 minutes of my time.
Fuck, I do it for 8 minutes. I just get up there and make fart noises in the mic or something like that. See, I couldn't do it. Like, I don't have that kind of skill on stage. Like, it was like, oh, you're kind of funny. I'm like, nah, not really, man. Everything I do is behind a mic or a camera. But, I get, like, that social anxiety shit.
Yes,
and I'm like,
I like the being able to edit it part of it as well. Like, that's why I like doing, like, sketch or any kind of filmed stuff like that. Because then you can edit.
Right.
Which is always better. Editing is always better.
Oh, yeah. I mean, hell, half my stuff comes from the beauty of editing. It looks like shit when I'm recording it all raw, and then I go ahead and throw some sound effects. Everything was great. But if you can pull it off raw, I think that's a good thing, too. And you made me laugh on Saturday.
I love you.
I love you.
Thank you.
We're not in that way, people. It's just we've known each other since we're 5 years old. We should probably point that out.
Yeah.
That Joe and I... First off, we're both from a little town of Oswego, Illinois, and here, it was a small town. It bloomed into a huge town, and everybody knows everybody. For the last 30-plus years, everybody grew up.
It's true.
So if you hung around here, somebody knows somebody who knows somebody or dated somebody else.
Well, that's true. Like, I noticed, like, there's other people who will be like... And I feel bad sometimes because I didn't really pay attention a lot in, like, high school or junior high. So, like, the people that I hung out with, I know and I still see, and it's fine. But then there's those random people that, like, you kind of used to talk to, maybe a little bit, but they weren't, like, your clique. They weren't, like, in tight. They don't know what your parents' names are. You know what I mean? But, like...
Oh, yeah.
But then they'll see you
Facebook
out.
friends.
Yeah,
Facebook friends.
Like, which is fine.
Yeah, I know what your life's going on because I saw your Facebook status and how many kids you got and when you got married and all that shit.
Yeah, your kid looks adorable. I hear that one a lot, which is, fun.
What was like our 10-year reunion? Like only, 25, 30 people showed up? I didn't go. You went, though, didn't you?
I did go. I did go to our 10-year reunion on my wife's behest. It was not my idea. But I had an okay time. I can't say I could complain. A couple friends went, so it made it kind of worth it. It was at a place that I used to do stand-up at, so I kind of knew it.
Right.
I liked it. It was okay. Yeah.
Reunions, man. Well, I blame social media for that because I feel like like your 10-year reunion for, like, say our parents back in the day was like the one reunion that everybody went to because, like, you needed to know what the hell everyone was up to. Like, hey,
you gotta compare.
Hey guys, who's got a kid? Who's got whose job? What's your career like? Do you in jail? What's going on? And
you did jail time?
I think now because of, like, Facebook and all that, you seen who's people are married, where they moved, how many kids they've gotten.
It is a lot more immediate.
Your kid's first shit, whatever it is.
That was a great picture. Don't die. Don't lie on that one. You liked it.
Ooh.
You definitely give me a like on that picture.
Oh yeah, totally. But I mean, you gotta admit though, like I think that's kind of what brought, because we had a class of like 450-ish people, and 30 people showed up to the union. I mean, it used to be where like at least 3/4 of the people I think used to show up. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know.
People came in from out of town.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, that was a thing where you flew out. Like, there was a whole Home Improvement episode about it, you know?
Right. Fucking.
It used to be one of those things where,
yeah.
that's what those people did for their generation. My grandparents
Right.
still go to their junior high, not high school, junior high class reunions.
I didn't know they had those.
Yeah, neither did I. I think they're making it up. It's like, because the high school ones, some of those people are dead.
Right.
We don't want to deal with that.
No, totally. Talk about high school reunions. Fuck it.
Yeah,
And comedy.
it's weird.
Comedy, peoples.
Comedy is fun. I will say this. I do a lot of stuff in the city. Sometimes it's really hard to ask a friend who lives in Oswego, which for you people who don't know, Oswego is about an hour 30, hour 20, sometimes on a bad day, 2 hours
Right.
to the city. So I don't like asking.
It's a bit of a hike, but
Yeah.
Chicago now is that where you want to be in Chicago? I mean, what's the comedy scene like in Chicago? I mean,
I'm just now actually dabbling into the stand-up part of the city. Like, I used to do Second City for a
Right.
while. That was like a big time for like about 2 years.
right.
So I was doing sketch a lot, and that's what I was doing in the city most of the time. But then now I'm just kind of getting my foot in the door in the city, which is kind of weird, but it's fun. And the place that you do want to be as a comic is the city. The problem is that if you've been doing it for a really long time, the suburbs has a lot to offer as far as stage time.
Really?
Like I did yesterday. Okay, I went to a show in Bradley, and I did 15 or 18 minutes, 15 somewhere in there. I lost track of time, but it was because there was only 5 comics. So I drove an hour and 15 minutes to Kankakee or Bradley, wherever that is, right, to do
Fucking
what I
boo-foo.
thought was going to be 7 or 8 minutes.
Okay.
Got to do 15.
There you go.
And then on the way home, I passed Plainfield. There was a mic going on,
So
so I
you
stopped and I did 8.
Yeah, there you go.
Which that would have never happened in the city. The city would have given me maybe 2 or 3 4-minute sets.
Wow.
Is what I would have
What
got.
can you really accomplish in 2, 3, 4 minutes of stand up?
It's a test of your will, and it's
Right.
more about like breaking your teeth. They think that you need that, which I get it. And dealing with certain crowds, that's how you make your bones.
Right.
It's got to be rough for you. It's got to be like the crowd where there's nobody but comedians who aren't laughing at your jokes.
Right.
They want to know that you can deal with that pressure, I guess.
See, I could deal with that pressure. The first thing I want to do is a heckler go down there and punch him in his dick.
Yeah.
What'd you say about my mother? No.
Get up
yeah.
on stage, you try it.
Nah, see, I'm not quick-witted. Like, I gotta think about my rebuttals. Like, I would be like, hold on, let me go write something down, and give me about 2 days, and then I'm really gonna have your ass. You
the
come
guy-
back and sit in the front, and I'm gonna have you. But that's me, like, with my comic ways, because I'm not a comedian, you know this. I'm a funny guy, but I'm not a comedian, and I just kind of sit there and...
You keep me entertained, so I will say you're funny. That's where
You know,
our
if you
love comes.
If you can't laugh at yourself. Do the
What
Bill
are you
Clinton. Do the Bill Clinton. You can't laugh at yourself.
Oh,
Yeah, all right. Where are we going with this? So
well, Clinton.
Clinton, yeah, well, yeah, yeah, easy. There's a man right
I
there.
heard his wife's gonna be wearing the pants again soon. You guys.
Probably. No politics.
No politics.
Not
We
right
don't
now.
do that.
We'll
We
get
don't do that.
Some other podcast.
But what do you want to know about
on a
comedy?
side note,
Go
speaking
ahead.
of politics, I had a request from some listeners, from friends of mine that go, I'd love to hear what you think about Donald Trump. And I go,
what you
and like
think
the
about
whole the whole run for the upcoming presidential race. And I go, you know what? I haven't watched anything enough
watched all of them.
to give like my input. Well, then maybe you'll have to come back and give me some input. Maybe in a
When
few
you
episodes.
that's like 6 hours, man. You gotta put in your time. They've
Yeah,
had 3 debates.
Yeah, 3 debates, and I've seen like 16 seconds of each one, and all I've got is this. They call out Donald Trump. He's like, you said this about this person, and he goes, probably did. And then they just see how he just admits it. I got to give him points for the honesty thing. At least the man just comes out, he's like, I probably did say whatever. Because most people in politics, let's be honest, they like deny it.
That's a big thing for
You
people
know,
right
they're
now.
like, oh, and they apologize to whoever they pissed off. He just comes out and goes, yeah, I said it. Yeah, fuck it.
That was a total asshole back then.
But
That
it
was
kind of
true.
it puts from what I've seen for a little bit, it puts the media, stops them dead in their tracks. They're like,
They don't know how to handle it.
how a man just he what he admitted it?
Well,
What?
that's how Bernie is too.
Yeah.
Like Bernie Sanders, every time they want to talk to him, tell us about Hillary, Bernie. Actually, I'd like to talk about the issues. I don't think that that's a point. That we need to talk about the issues in this country. There's 1% of the 99% of the wealth inequality in this country. Like that's what he goes to right away.
Right. Yeah.
So
you know what? We'll come back to that on a different podcast. We'll get into that because now it sounds like it might be interesting to talk about that. But that's all I know. I know like three.
You gotta know.
I know like 2 minutes, so I don't have enough to really give an honest opinion on what I think. I mean, the only opinion I think is based on popularity. I'm afraid to say it, but Donald Trump's probably just gonna. He probably already won.
He'll probably win the Republican nod.
I'm like, I think he already won, and people are like, oh, we still got a long way to go. I'm like, in this country, whoever's the most popular and like is just running with it. That's usually how it go. I mean, Anyway,
we do tend to base it on tan.
I know. Nice hair too. Nice guy, got a nice piece. Anyway, if he bought people's elections before, he's probably buying this one. But whatever.
That's what Chicago's known for. What do you want to know about comedy? That's
I
always wonder. Like, what do normal? We call them civilians. We call you civilians.
Oh yeah, I got
all
that.
of our audience members that have never been to a comedy show before, or not very often.
Well, I mean, I love. Obviously, I'm a big fan of comedy. I listen to a lot of Bill Burr. You know, I love Bill Burr. My personal favorite comedian right now, and I just. You know, how's it work in the cities? Because, like, you remember, like, the only thing I have to base anything in Chicago is I was in a band, so I know what it was like to play clubs and,
it's very
like,
similar.
Talk to owners and be like, get paid nickels to play a show, and sometimes you'd have to spend money to play a show. So, I mean, is it similar to shit like that?
It is.
How are the gigs like? You know, what's it like getting a gig? Who do you talk to? What do you meet? I mean, shit like that.
You're not going to get paid, for sure.
We work for free.
We do work for free a lot, or we work for a 2-drink minimum that we pay for those drinks.
Oh, there you go.
Some people figure out that they can actually put that on their taxes.
All right, the bar's making money.
Yeah, they are. The bar always has to make money. That's the deal. But there's a lot of good clubs now. Like, there's even theaters that do BYOB.
Right.
Which leaves it out of the hands of people so that they don't have to spend a lot of cash. But then on top of it, for most performers in the city you're looking at, you're going to try to hit up 4 or 5 mics a night. That's pro status.
Right.
If everything works out perfectly and you get to drive and there's no traffic and you pay for parking, that's another part. You have to pay for parking and all this other stuff, especially if you're a guy who doesn't live in the city like me. So it's an event. I try to do it once a week,
right,
at least. But I'm trying to get that up to 2. You will not get paid for sure until you get like showcases,
right?
Which I'm getting to that point now where like I have showcases that I get to do, which is fun. I try not to ask. That's another thing. There's a lot of hungry people out there,
right? Oh,
so
sure.
I feel like if I'm the guy who doesn't ask and then you ask me, I feel like it's like a double kick-ass thing,
right?
For me personally, like that's how I use it to judge how well I'm doing.
Right. Someone asks you, like, hey, you want to come over here and do a quick set, you know, whatever?
Yeah.
And invite you out. I mean, obviously, anybody wants to hear that. Like,
it's a confirmation.
Rather than like, hey, guys, you need someone to fill 5 minutes? you know, you want to go in there. Is it like a confidence thing? I mean, you don't want to ask. I get that. But
I mean, you get it. You get a fake it till you make it kind of mentality for a long time. And then eventually you get so good that you're, what we like to call in the biz undeniable. So then there are people that know that you have 10 minutes. They've seen you handle that drunk guy that one time.
Right.
And, like, still not lose your place and still kick ass and finish strong.
Yeah, because I've seen some local comics that just fucking terrible.
Well, some of what you would expect is that some of those people are new.
Right.
The other part of it is that they may not have experience.
Because what's it like here? For example, like how about on an open mic night? Anybody can just walk on up, right, and just grab a mic and start talking about whatever the fuck they want. They want to sit there and talk about goddamn Star Wars all day. They could, right?
This happened yesterday. Okay, so yesterday, after I got done with that show in Bradley, I went to Mojo's. Okay, so first let me do shout outs. Okay, Bradley is at the Spot on Broadway. Very cool bar. I liked it. Tyler and Rashad run that one, and then I went to Mojo's in Plainfield, which is like every Tuesday they do a mic. And the thing that was going on yesterday was there was some guys there who had lost their draft, whatever that is, like whatever you football guys do. I don't know.
Fantasy football?
Fantasy football. Right? So they lost some bets. So they're there doing stand up as a bet. that they lost.
Oh, yeah.
While there are other professional comedians who are here every week and have been doing it for 7 or 8 years, 10 years,
Right.
some of them 5, like me.
So is that some of the double-edged sword, though? I mean, with
It
the
is.
whole open mic, I mean, like, I could walk up and just be like, hey, everybody, I want
Yeah.
to talk to you about the fucking shit I took this morning.
And then you
Let
have
me tell you.
you have to, sometimes those people bring people.
Well, yeah,
which
I
is
mean,
great too.
Because well, one thing I've noticed about anything open mic can be like, yeah, I'm sure you probably get the guys that like those football guys just got up there as a like a bet, like they lost a bet. But I'm sure you get some people up there that are fucking geniuses, and you didn't think we're up there, and you're just like,
Yeah.
where'd this guy come from, or a girl, or whoever,
And
right?
then you find out he's 18 and his mom and dad are here and they brought him there for the
Holy
night.
fuck.
Which you go, like
But-
that guy Nick Hobar
Yeah.
at the Comedy Shrine on
Right.
Saturday. He's like 19,
No shit.
right? And his mom and dad like actually take him to go. Like there was no way my father would have ever brought me to a bar
Right.
like to go do stand-up comedy. If I was the sober driver to drive him home at the end of the
Yeah,
night. But
you
not
go
like,
up there, Joey. I'm gonna go over here and drink.
and then you're going to drive us home at the end of the night because all you're drinking is Shirley Temples. Like that was,
Yeah.
that would have never happened.
Right.
But so you see that, and then you get like, I don't get depressed anymore
Right.
because like I know it's like, okay, well he's really good right now.
Right.
Let's see what jokes he writes in 5
Well,
years.
I think sometimes though it's probably good that you got these guys that
Yes.
kind of come up and bomb. So like for you to come up there and kind
he
of
doesn't bomb though. By any
No,
chance. I don't
not
wanna
this
say,
gentleman, not this
he's
guy.
very good.
not him. I'm saying like anybody else that if you go with these open mics or something,
It
and
gets
someone
rough.
bombs, and you come up and you know you got your materials pretty raw and up there and up to par, and then you just launch it out, and people are like, oh, all right.
It catches a crowd off guard sometimes. That's what's
Right.
brilliant about an open mic is that you have to let water on a duck's back. Sometimes you gotta let it go.
Right.
But at the same time, sometimes you have a killer night.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes that the fact that there were all these people here who have been watching this slush of horrible humanity go up there and just eat it and talk about rape, maybe reveal the new Star Wars plot. That was a thing that
Right.
definitely happened last night and I heard about.
Oh yeah.
Somebody talked about, the main plot line of that movie.
I'm sure everybody knows by now. I'm not gonna spoil anything. No, I'm just
No,
kidding.
we don't want it. It was really good. Go see it and
Yeah.
take your friends to go see it.
It was pretty good. I admit I saw it on Christmas.
But it was a lot like A New Hope. Shut up.
So,
It was great
There's
still.
a whole other podcast there that we could talk about the similarities. You know what I mean? I saw it too when I was watching. I go, it's similar.
Yeah.
You know,
it's
if
good.
you haven't seen it by now, go fuck yourself. We're just gonna tell you that it's similar plot, but you know what? It's a good story and the effects were great. I like the use of practical with
Oh my God, I
with
was so
with,
happy
with
with
the CGI because it was a very good blend. And but you could tell it felt like a J.J. Abrams movie because I've seen the Star Treks.
You've
and
seen those lens flares.
You know, and I'm like,
before.
well, you go in there, J.J. And
You put 2 lens flares in there. Okay, you
But it
controlled
wa-
yourself.
But it wasn't overwhelming. Like I've seen, like in Star Trek, I thought it was overwhelming. But anyway, hey, here we go. Star Wars is great. End of that conversation. We could talk about it later. Anyway, so yeah, back to with the open mics and just. How do you say in the city? Is there a certain crowd out there, or is it different
It's a
in the
lot of
suburbs?
comics.
Does it matter, or is it like everybody's kind of the same depending on where you're at? Or
It is and it isn't. I
Alright.
like the suburbs because I feel like I get a better read on a crowd because the crowd is actually not always consistent of comedians.
right,
Which is fine if you're the guy who makes the comics in the back of the room laugh all the time. That's
Right.
great. But I write a lot and I try to test a lot of stuff out. So sometimes I actually don't want that opinion. I want a new crowd who's never heard me before. And
Yeah.
I want to know if this tag that I wrote to this joke that's a year old is going to do really well.
well, yeah,
And
that's
then-
like Saturday. You killed him, and you were the opening guy.
I told
You
you,
were-
I changed my whole set
Yeah,
when
well,
I found out I was opening.
Yeah, you changed his whole set on the fly, but what you did though, you set the bar for the night, and being the first guy up, people got expectations no matter where you're at, and first
Exactly.
guy up, they're gonna be like, all right, let's see what I got for $5, and then you came out, you made everybody was laughing, everybody felt you, I felt the flow in the crowd. And then, everybody there that performed that night was overall not too bad. I mean,
Yeah,
there's a
it was
couple
good.
that were like, but for most part, everybody that was on stage, I chuckled at, so
Yeah,
I
it
was
was a
like,
pretty
it's
good
good
lineup.
shit. And that's good. I mean, but then again, people, when you're paying $5 to get in, you get $5 worth of comedy. But you know what? If you go in there with an open mind, it's still good. And everybody was awesome.
The Shrine is always a good place. They have really
Yeah.
good people sometimes on the weekends that you should check out.
Yeah, we're talking about the Comedy Shrine Aurora. It's a nice comedy club. I mean, when you walk in, it's almost like an antique store of comedy devoted to everything with all the frickin'...
The guy who owns
It's got
the place,
memorabilia everywhere. It's like everything from Chicagoland stuff to just comedy from back to the Three Stooges to now. It's great.
the guy who owns the place, his name is Dave Sinker. He actually wrote on. Do you remember Saban, like the company that made all those old '90s cartoons?
They did Power Rangers, right?
They did a little bit of Power Rangers. He also worked on the Creepy Crawlers cartoon show. Do you remember that?
I remember Creepy Crawlers.
He definitely
very
wrote for that.
Yeah.
He's written for a couple other things too. He's a good comedy writer. He went to Second City with Tim Meadows and stuff.
It's fucking awesome.
He's got a shrine to the things that he has always loved.
And that's cool as
And
fuck.
when you walk through there, you will never see all of it the first time. Which
No.
makes it cool.
Yeah, I've walked through a couple times, and they got some really... I mean, from me, I collect antiques and shit, so over there, I was like, man, this is great. It's like
Yeah.
It's like a comedy
Some
archive
of his
of
figures I'm
awesomeness.
very jealous of.
Oh, yeah,
because
dude.
they're ones I can't get.
Those Three Stooges birdhouses we saw. There was,
What is that?
Yeah, no, there was Three Stooges birdhouses. There were birdhouses like that. Three
Customs.
Stooges' custom faces. It was fucking great. I don't care who you are. That's amazing. That was
is
awesome
cool.
stuff.
I
But
love it there. It's a cool.
no,
place.
it's a good club. You guys can go out there. They got a lot of good acts out there. Joe frequents there. I don't know how often. Usually there.
I try to go to the mic every once in a while. I like to get booked there. We won't talk about how often I've been booked there to do a show featuring. It's
Right.
only been once or twice, but the rest of it is competition stuff. That's who they call.
Oh, that's good.
So
Well,
that's-
competition
I'm
probably
moving
builds.
up.
How's that feel when you're in the competitions? It's just not like, hey, we're doing a gig together, so we're gonna share the mic. But here we're competing to see who's gonna get.
Oh, none of us were. I mean, if you are the guy that's in the back room in the green room that's worried about how well everybody else does,
Right.
good luck to you.
Is there a lot of
we're
ego
not-
flying around those rooms?
A little bit, but
You gotta-
not. I tend to kind of leave the room if that's going on because I'm not that guy.
All right.
I'm hoping we all do well because if you do well before I go up,
It sets a tone.
it's exactly.
It sets the
like
tone
I
for the
want
night.
the night to be smooth. I got other people that came to see me too,
Right.
But I don't want them to be like, "Oh man, we paid $5 for this."
Oh,
I
right,
want
right.
it to be a good show.
Yeah, it's like anything, man. It's just like reminds me of my band days. You had an opening band, they suck.
Yeah,
You're like,
sometimes. Yep.
we just want the headliner.
But if they would have rehearsed
Excuse me.
in such a way where that's the thing is it's all about the same as comedy. It's an
Right.
opener, right? So that opening band that goes out there, they need to rock your face off, and
Totally.
if they don't,
I will boo
then
you off the fucking stage.
you're gonna get booed. You're gonna get booed right off. So that's what you have as an opening guy, or your first joke should always be in the first minute.
Right.
You need to grab those people,
Oh,
or at
God,
least let
yeah.
them know who you are.
You got to.
Because-
Especially, I think these small clubs got to be hard. I mean, because
Small clubs are very hard.
I mean, those people there, I don't know, for the most part are out just to have a good time.
Yeah.
They took a lot of people probably on a date.
Date.
So what do you want to do? Hey, let's go to a comedy club. That sounds like something different than going to a movie.
Let's do it.
They got drinks. We can,
They do have drinks.
So I mean, it's like, well, what's your best experience so far? What do you think was as far, crowd wise and place?
This is gonna be really weird and odd, but okay. My best experience that I've ever had in stand-up comedy was working at this little theater. It's in Edison Park in the city of Chicago.
Right.
I've been doing really well there for a couple of their mics, so then they asked me to host one of their mics, and I went there, and the power was out
Nice.
for hosting. So I got a host. The power's out. And we're running the mic and everything else on a generator.
Oh, right.
The lights are going on and off sometimes in between my set. It's not like this anymore, by the way. The Whip is a fantastic theater now. This is like when they first opened. So now everything's on point and they know an electrician.
Right.
But before, it was a really rough and weird night, but it was a
Right.
room full of comics and civilians. So there was people just really good audience members who were just rolling with the flow of it, and I had a really good night. I had a good set off the top, and then I also just throughout the night was hosting. I had a great time,
Yeah.
and that's probably been either that or there was a couple of times at the Drunken Donut in
The Drunken
Joliet. Yeah, it's
I didn't even know this place existed.
It's a legit place.
A
where there's
Drunken Donut?
It's a donut shop / bar in
There you
Joliet. And it's a late night show. The crowd is really young there, and they like comedy.
Right.
So it's always really, really cool. Cash bar only. You got to bring cash. He doesn't have an ATM that works. So you got to walk to the CVS and get some money if you need it. But like, it's just a really cool room, and they have a patio. You go outside, you hang out.
Right.
You get a lot of people are paying attention to your set. They're like, that was a really good joke you had right there with that thing with the blah 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 blah. Like, they're paying attention.
Good.
That's what I want.
Yeah, we want people to pay attention.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
You know, from band time,
fuck yeah, dude. It's nice when people come up to you and they'll let you know if you sucked or not. Like, they don't
Yeah,
bullshit.
they don't
like,
care.
They'll come out there and be like, you fucking blow. And like, you know,
They'll
thanks,
ruin your
buddy.
dreams.
No, yeah, they'll tell you. Like, crowds of anybody, fans, whether they're there to see or not, they'll be honest with you and let you know what they really thought of that shit.
Yeah,
you
if
know,
no one's
the people
talking to you, that's not a
that
good
lie
sign.
to you are like your family that comes out, like if you got your mom out there and your sister, and they're like, oh my god, it was so wonderful. Like, they're just there to support you. They didn't give a fuck.
Yeah.
But like, you know, the real people that barely know you, like as a person, they'll fucking tell you to your face.
Oh, they'll ruin your day. They don't care.
They'll be straight up with you, which is awesome. But you know, you need that. You need that kind of. You know, I used to be real sensitive about it. Like, fuck you, man. You know, like if someone says something bad. Now I welcome it. You know, especially now it's like I want to hear like, what do you think? You know, I could do. And my whole thing is, I've realized just be yourself. Like, that's the only thing I could do is say, be yourself. The more I try to be a character. Like, I'm sort of a character. Like, on my delivery of things I do on my YouTube channel is like, I'm a character. But for the most part, that's pretty fucking me. You know, I censor myself a lot, though. Except on this podcast. I said there's no censoring.
No, you shouldn't do that.
Fuck that.
You should be able to say whatever you want.
God.
People are going to slip up on your show and say whatever they want, like me.
Oh, yeah. That's why. Yeah, bring it on.
Good.
I never understood that whole thing, the whole, like, you know, why we censor language. I'm like, you know, what other word am I supposed to use to describe something amazing? You know?
Fuck.
Exactly. There's a word that can be used for anything. Fuck. I mean, that can be used derogatory, and it can also be used in the great positive light. That was the fucking best night ever, boys.
Boys, hands up. Hands up. This one's going down in the books. Come on. Like, that's what you got to do. You got to be yourself. You are. I will say, like, I've known you for a long time.
Jesus, we know each other since we were
It's
fucking
you.
getting in trouble in kindergarten, eating glue.
I never ate glue.
No, you weren't eating glue. I was just kidding.
That was Austin. Austin ate glue.
Yeah, we had this kid, Austin. We didn't have glue back then. We had paste, and this kid would just take it in his hand, just scoop it up, and just mush it. I'm like, Jesus. I'm like, I wonder what kind of brain damage that causes. I don't know.
I mean, maybe it's edible.
Do some research. It could have
paste.
been. The old paste, I think, was a little edible. It
They
wasn't
were
like
letting kindergartners touch
like
it.
toxic glue now, where it's like, oh, you probably wouldn't want to get that close to your mouth.
Probably got lead in it.
Right? Something that'll make your balls fall off with cancer. Who knows?
Is that Monsanto glue?
Ugh.
If it's Monsanto glue.
Well, yeah.
You don't know.
So you're definitely yourself on stage is one thing that I noticed. When you were telling your jokes and stuff on your stories, I'm like, it's Joe.
Yeah.
I was like, I know you because I've known you, but like, I feel, especially today's comedy, like, yeah, that's why I like Bill Burr. He just gets up there and Bill Burr's his fucking self. He just
F for
talks like
Family.
that.
Have you watched
Yes,
F for Family?
yes.
That is his dad.
I'm
like,
going to plug
a
that
T.
too. F for Family on Netflix is Bill
Oh my
Burr's new
God.
comedy animated show. And let me tell you, I watched it. It's fucking great. If you
Everybody has an uncle in their family that acts like that
Right?
guy to his family.
Or that's your father.
Yeah, that's another one.
My dad said that shit. He's like, if you don't listen to fucking me, I'm going to put you through that fucking wall. And they say that on the show. I'm like, shit, my dad said that. No, I grew up in the late 80s.
You better not let your sister die today while you're watching her and babysitting her. I'm going to put you through a fucking wall.
And I tell you, like, I know it's in the 70s, but you know what? That's kind of how my dad and my grandpa kind of were in a way. So, like,
That's how
I
mine
dig
were.
it. But I like, you know, that whole thing he does. He's just himself on that show. You can just tell it's his...
His podcast is really good, too. It's
Oh,
a
fuck
solo
yeah.
podcast.
Yeah,
it's one
dude,
of the
it's the
rare
Monday
ones.
morning podcast. Again, I'll plug that again because it's
Very
great.
good.
If you want another comedy thing to listen to, if you are listening to this, listen to Bill Burr. The few of you who are. I know who you are. No, I'm just kidding. But,
The other comics that I'll share it with,
right, there you go. Oh, yeah, that's
they
good.
should all be watching it.
But yeah, no, you were yourself on stage when we saw you Saturday, like just
thank you.
your jokes and about that. Which one girl would just say about my what was that?
Gut neathage.
Gut
baby.
neathage?
That's a solid
Gut
joke.
neathage?
Let's not throw that out there. That's my bread and butter. Right
Well,
there
I
right
won't say
now.
too much. Let's just say it was funny, and I got it. I was like, oh man, that's good shit. So, well, let's say Joe DeGan over here, guys. Real funny comic. He's going to be performing all kinds of stuff. I'm sure we'll get some dates and some more things.
Yeah, you look at me.
I
got January 30th. I'll be at the Whip Theater. That'll be a fun. That's in the city though, so if you're not a city guy,
take a train, people.
There's a couple on Villa Park. I think I got one on the 22nd. I'll put up dates, but just whatever you see, just like it. Just like everything, and then.
Well, you got a YouTube channel too, correct?
I do, but I posted a lot of sketch there for a long time.
Okay.
I post a couple of things like I did like a story.
Right.
I just posted that was all about the wife.
Right.
Recently.
I just watched that too.
It's good.
Very touching.
It's rough. It's rough, but it's good.
Yeah.
There's my stand-up stuff. I've gotten to the point now where I don't post that. I only give it to bookers, which is what you should do as a professional comedian. Don't be putting your stuff out there for free.
There you go. I'll put it out for free.
Yeah, that's how you get thieves. That's how you get thieves, man. Some guy in California will be doing your bit. I got plenty of stories about people like that. You're like, what? You heard my joke? What do you mean you heard my joke?
Right. Yeah, I guess that's one thing you gotta watch out about the internet. You don't want to be too out there, Because,
with that material, that's like written. That's what I figured out though. Is that's written material. Like that's the same as me putting out a movie that I just let everybody see for free, which is fine. But at the same time, that's for bookers to see so that I get money, so that I get jobs.
Yeah, you need to work for that.
Exactly.
You get paid for your. Not everything's free here. People.
Look at Twitter. If you want free jokes, you go to Twitter. It's like who is Joe DeGan. At Twitter, and then I'll give you stuff for free.
There you go.
The stuff I feel like giving you.
Yeah, he just plugged it for you guys.
There you go.
He's also, you can follow Joe on Facebook. You got Joe DeGan Comedy, correct?
It's DEGAND. Yes.
There you go.
That's me.
You follow him on Facebook. He'll post some stuff up on there. We'll wrap it up. I think 30 minutes is good for this one because God knows we're not famous yet. And if you've been listening to us this long, I mean that just thank you. We love you, and that's great loyal support. But
kisses.
Oh yes, kisses, guys.
Kisses and hugs.
All right, thanks Joe for coming on.
Love you, brother.
We're gonna
anytime.
Fuck yeah, dude. We'll come back. We'll talk about some crazy shit. Me and this guy could talk for days.
About anything.
But we're gonna have to chop it up in 30-minute increments just to keep our sanity and keep you guys interested in all this great fun crazy shit. But maybe we'll come back. If you want Joe to come back, you like what you hear, I want you to leave me some comments, share this podcast. You can find me also on SoundCloud. It's Yaga Rambles, people. We're out. Peace.
Peace. Thanks for having me.